Very good.
Senator Barrasso. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I want to first respond to something that the chairman said about the dual email accounts, saying
Yes.
kind of everybody does it. Well, there's an April 11th, 2008 EPA memo from the agency's own agency records officer that states, quote, this dual account structure was first implemented during the former administrator Carol Browner's tenure. It goes on to say, though, the secondary email accounts are configured so the account holder's name appears to be in the sent by field, so people actually know who it's sent by. So the email alias Richard Windsor does not comply with the rules. So I would ask you if confirmed, will you please comply with the EPA rules with regard to the secondary email accounts that have been outlined in this document? And Madam Chairman, I ask that this EPA document letter be included in the record.
Without objection.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Senator, I'm not familiar with the document, but I'll certainly take it back to Acting Administrator Perciasepi, and we can respond to that.
Well, it is the rules of the EPA from April of 2008, and it says that the address of the secondary account have to be configured so the account holder's name appears in the sent by file, and yet I have a whole pile of emails from Richard Windsor to you and from you to Richard Windsor. Your name appears appropriate, but Richard Windsor's does not anywhere. So, I would say that this is a practice. I wonder if anybody at the EPA objected, or if you personally objected to EPA Administrator Lisa Jackson using an alias that was absolutely against the policy of the EPA, and your emails to her, back to her, go back to 2009.
Senator, I'm just not familiar with the policy you're reading from, but I'll certainly be happy to familiarize myself with it.
Well, I think it's important for all of us to know if the EPA and this administration is going to be transparent or is intentionally deciding to try to deceive the American people.
Without losing any time, could you stop the clock? Since we're asking Gene McCarthy, can we ask all those Republicans also?
This is a 2008 document of April of 2008. So I'm not asking Carol Browner, who wasn't there at the time, although she started it, and the people during the Bush administration. That's fine. But this is something to...
but I just think it would be interesting to ask them as well. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to ask them as well. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The President said during his State of the Union address that if Congress won't act soon to protect future generations, that he would direct the Cabinet to come up with executive actions he said we can take in terms of pollution and prepare our communities for the consequences, he says, of climate change. This administration has attempted to pass highly controversial legislation regarding climate change in terms of expanding the definition of even federal waters, among others. Clearly, Congress, in a bipartisan way, rejected these efforts by the President in terms of climate change, rejected the issues of federal waters, and the people both in the House and the Senate who introduced the federal waters legislation, they both lost the re-election bids. So the EPA doesn't seem to care about any of the thoughts of the American people. They have moved forward regardless to attempt to enact these proposals despite the will of the American people, bipartisan. This includes climate change rules. It includes clean water jurisdiction. So I ask if you're looking to replace Lisa Jackson, do you disagree with any of the actions that the EPA Administrator Jackson has taken with regard to Clean Water Act jurisdictional guidance or climate change rules?
Senator, I respectfully ask if I could just stick with the air program. I understand that there are many issues that folks are concerned about on the water side. I just can't speak to those directly. But I know the rules that we have put forth that regulate carbon pollution are rules that we believe that the Clean Air Act requires us to regulate or is appropriate given the law and the science.
Thank you. In January of this year, there was a proposed new coal-fired power plant. It's canceled in Corpus Christi, Texas. A $3 billion plant would have employed 3,900 folks. The CEO of the company that was to build the plant stated that the plant, he said, is a victim of the EPA's concerted effort to stifle solid fuel energy facilities in the United States, including the EPA's carbon permitting requirements and the EPA's new source performance standards for new power plants. The same month, Georgia Power announced the EPA emission standards are being blamed for the closure of 15 coal-fired power plants and the loss of nearly 480 jobs in Georgia. Since you've taken office, 10% of coal-fired generated power in the United States has been taken offline. Thousands upon thousands of people are now out of work. More get laid off with each plant closure and each proposed project that's killed. Do you see the EPA having any responsibility for the thousands of folks who are out of work for these plant closures?
Senator, I believe that coal has been and will continue to be a significant source of energy in the United States. And I take my job seriously when I'm developing standards for protecting public health to take a look at the economic consequences of those and do my best to provide flexibility in the rules.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,